behind you. I guess you have seen it already, and I won't keep you long. Thank you very much for coming, guys, and play auf geht's.
Es ist so schön, ein Musikant zu sein. Wir bringen Glück in jede graue Nacht. Es ist so schön, ein Musikant zu sein. Wir bringen Glück in jeden grauen Tag.
About the julep history for one, but now you know how it is. You get the revision, and I will tell you how it really was. Because at that time, I can tell you, I served in the Imperial Court in Vienna, and we had some problems with the Turks. I have to be frank, you know, we had some problems with the Turks at that time. They had been in front of Vienna and laid siege to a town. And Turkey at that time was what was the USA today. It was the biggest power, and you didn't really mess with them. So we had consultations with the emperor, and he said, let's have some peace talks. I mean, it can't go on, the Turks all over us now. So we decided to send an ambassador, un Flamand, to Turkey, so he would be peace negotiations, you know, talk to the Turks, see if we can strike a deal. So the guy leaves and arrives obviously in Istanbul, and then we can't reach him anymore. He just disappears, you know, incommunicado. He must walk around as the rise of the Sultan. I don't know what he has done, but we tried to reach him, give him instructions as what he should do. The emperor was already all about us, got angry. Anyway, we calmed him down and said we have to be patient and wait, we'll see, he will come back, and I'm sure will be a peace treaty or some proposal from the Turks, from the Sultan. So everybody was waiting with great expectation what his envoy would bring back. And finally Mr. Buzkek arrives. I mean, bags. We ask him what he would have there, and you know what he shows us? Some shriveled up bulbs. I mean, the emperor was, you can imagine, furious. And he said these were beautiful flowers, tulips. I mean, we wanted a peace treaty, promises from the Turks, but not shriveled up tulip bulbs. I mean, what do you do with it? So the emperor was absolutely livid. Ambassador got sacked, never traveled to Istanbul again in his life. So, since we didn't know what to do with these bulbs, we gave it to the gardener, to Mr. Clusius. He was not a very useful man, he's a Frenchman, you know, I mean, he brought a potato, yes, indeed. And what he did, he planted these bulbs in front of the emperor's window. Well, the emperor wanted to play soccer and exercise there, so he couldn't do that anymore either. The flowers were nice, but that's not what he wanted. So, even Mr. Clusius got sacked, I mean, as you know. He then walked on to, got a university job, good for him, I would say. And we were rid of Clusius and the tulips. So you see the short-sightedness of Austrian bureaucracy sometimes helps other countries, with a touch, who sees the potential which we don't see. But at the end, I think it turns out well, and the tulip came to Ottawa. You see, had we not been there, maybe it would have come to Washington, you would have to buy them. So I think we have a little contribution to your Tulip Festival. We're very pleased and honored to be here, and we hope that you all have a great weekend and enjoy. Thank you very much.
I don't know the expression for shunking.
Sitzt leiden, das ist der steirische Brauch. Alle! Hola, am türkischen Sterzen, da Schwangsuppen drauf. Hola, sitzt leiden, das ist der steirische. Alle! Hola, 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 das ist der steirische Brauch. Und Fenster sind wir gegangen, da kein Schlatieren. Hola,
hab Fenster verfolgt, hab die Gors eingeschrieben, Hola, jo, es ist Leiden, das ist der steirische Brauch, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, das ist der steirische Brauch. Und auf Waschen noch Schuhe voller Alarm. Hola, jo, so vorn wird's war keiner daheim. Hola, jo, das Leiden, das ist halt der steirische Brauch. Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Hola, jo, Radio, das ist der Podcast.
Für die Zeit, wo's lieb wird,
Well, this time we're here at the official function. Sometimes we're here just for fun, but today it's really official. And we're also proud of my assistant, my Brown leader. She really has worked hard to make our contribution to this. Gold, das Goldene Verdienstzeichen der Republik Österreich. They have now asked the Schrammel Quartet to come forward and join us here at the podium. Alles Platz, he's a junior, he's a baby. Normally wouldn't need any introduction. You know they're the heart and the soul of our society here in Ottawa. President, he mentioned it, 30 years. Well, that means they survived more than 8 ambassadors, at least 8. They must have played in 30 and 5 or more national days. I don't know how many Heimatabend and other Veranstaltungen. Without the Schrammels, I think there wouldn't be no Austrian society here. They're really the heart and the soul of our gatherings here, and it's amazing, as President Kleston said, how much it changes when you come into a room and you hear some music. They convey Heimat with music without talking, like we have to do with music, and you feel it, and it's you think you almost know. And the Schrammels are too, I think you have heard in the last days, who participated in the symposium, a bit of Austrian history, a bit of Canadian history, but the Schrammels are really living history, if you so say. The Grau is alle theory, but they really have lived through quite interesting, not always easy times. And just let me go mention it. Edmund Wisniewski, he is the oldest one. And he came to Canada. In fact, the interesting thing, he is the younger one, and he just came back. I think he has been invited to us before. Aircraft failure. Correct? I think there you will be 65, so that was the end of the Austrian immigration. And he makes these nice artificials. They've learned it at home, abroad it was them here. But I think they're remarkable. To survive, you need a stream of immigrants, or at least second or third generation. And at least our 4 Schrammels have 10 children amongst them. So that makes, I don't know how many grandchildren, so at least the Austrian Canadian society will flourish, and hopefully the will flourish too, because all the grandchildren will take at least some courses there. Really an example to follow.
Ja, genau. Good quality Austrian material.
Everyone easy to take a good picture. Moment, bitte. Ja.
very special occasion. Our city has a vibrant cultural history that has been enriched by the presence of so many fine people of Austrian heritage. On behalf of Mayor Shirelli, our City Council, our residents, and myself, thank you for being part of our great city for 150 years. As you know, an Austrian diplomatic presence was established here in 1855. Your Excellency, may our city continue to enjoy the presence of the beautiful Austrian people. Thank you very much for this evening.
Ich glaube, Sie sind mit einer Meinung nach den Tagen, die wir hinter uns haben, die wir miteinander erleben konnten hier in Ottawa, dass ich keine große formale Begrüßung mehr sage und einfach nur sage, liebe Freunde, 40 years or 2 generations rendering a service to Austrian people in Canada, Ottawa in particular, is certainly worth celebrating. May I, on behalf of the board of the World Federation of Austrians Abroad, offer you all our warmest congratulations. I would like to take this opportunity especially to thank all those people who for 40 years have worked so hard to keep this Austrian society, Ottawa, alive. For these thousands of voluntary hours, we should all be grateful, and I myself would like to express my personal appreciation. One person still doing this work is your President, Roland Pirker. He was not only President of the Austrian Canadian Council, but is also a member of the board of the World Federation of Austrians Abroad. May I ask the Pirker to join me at the podium? Ich ist geleistet, und das wissen Sie viel besser als ich. Aber bevor ich jetzt auf ihn noch einmal zurückkomme, ein klein wenig natürlich darf ich meine eigene Frau hier mit erwähnen, die mir liebenswürdigerweise die Brille nachgetragen hat. Aber bevor ich also auf ihn zu sprechen komme, möchte ich ein gutes altes Wort hier nennen, cherchez la femme. Und hinter jedem erfolgreichen Mann steht eine Frau. Und das hat Klammer allerdings nicht in seiner Anwesenheit, Klammer geschlossen, einstimmig beschlossen, ihm die höchste Auszeichnung des Weltbundes zu überreichen und zukommen zu lassen. Und ich darf Ihnen hiermit offiziell das goldene Ehrenzeichen des Auslandsösterreicher Weltbundes überreichen, mit allen Grüßen und besten Herzlichen Grüßen Ihrer Kollegen. Alles Gute.